Hey, what's up? Let's do some math today. In this video, we're going to talk about multiplying and dividing rational numbers. So really quickly, let's kind of start off by going over the rules. So the first rule I want to really stress and emphasize here is that we're going to work with two numbers at a time. Okay, and so eventually we'll start off with our examples that only have two numbers, but as we build up and maybe we have three numbers or eventually four numbers or something like that, you always want to work with two numbers at one time because that helps us with our rule, with our second rule, and that is we're going to have a positive number if we have the same signs. All right, and we'll have a negative number if we have different signs. So for example, let's just write out a couple of these. Let's go brown. All right, so same signs. If we have a positive times a positive, it's going to be positive. That was kind of self-explanatory. But a negative times a negative is also going to be a positive. And then same thing happens if we're doing division. So positive divided by a positive or a negative divided by a negative. We'll still end up getting a positive for all those cases. If we have different signs, then we're going to get a negative as our final answer. So for example, we have a positive times a negative. That's going to be a negative answer. If we have a negative times a positive, it's going to be a negative answer. Doesn't matter what order we do it in. Again, if we have a positive or a negative divided by a positive or a positive divided by a negative, however you want to look at it, all of those are going to be negative. But the thing is, this only happens when we're dealing with two at a time. So let's take a look at a few simple number examples. We have -4 times -2. Two negative signs means that this is going to be a positive 8. Compare that to +4 times -2. We have different signs, and now we're going to end up getting -8. And the reason why it's important to do this two at a time is, let's say we had something like this. -2 times -3 times -4. You'd say, aha, they all have the same sign, therefore our answer must be positive. But that's not going to be the case. When we go two at a time, we'll end up getting, let me scratch that out because that's not true anymore. We're going to end up getting +6 times -4, which then becomes -24. So even though we had the same signs, we end up with a negative answer. And that's because of rule number 1. Work with two numbers at a time. Okay, now let's look at some other examples, but with rational numbers. Technically what we did is rational numbers, but we're going to now be dealing with fractions and decimals. Now here's the thing. If you're not terribly comfortable with your fractions and decimals, I'd recommend checking out one of my other videos where we covered just how to deal with fractions or decimals. I'm kind of assuming you know how to do this. We're now just applying the idea of negatives into it. Okay, so again, for our examples, it's all about what the sign is. And so what I'm seeing is different signs, so different signs, DS, which means that we're going to have a negative answer. So whatever that is, or I'll have to now crunch the numbers and figure that out. After that, it's multiplication like you would normally. So find out what cancels out here. 1, 2, 1, 3. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 3 is 6. So it is a -1/6 for my final answer. Number 2, here I'm seeing same signs, so that means my final answer will be positive. And so I just now have to crunch the numbers. 3.3 times 0.2, so that's 6. That's 6, but now I have two spots here, so 1, 2. So I will have 0.66. Check the sign, supposed to be positive. Box it, walk away. Number 3, again, we have the same sign, so that means my final answer will be positive, but I'm dividing fractions, so I want to do a little keep, change, flip. So -6/5 times 10 over -3. Cancel out some stuff. That's 2, that's 1, that's 2, that's 1. Now here, this is something that tends to throw students for a loop. We have 2 times 2, 1 times 1, which is 4 over 1, 1, which tends to be, or which can also be written as just 4. And again, we've said that we have the same sign. So even though they're both negative in the beginning, it ends up being a positive answer in the end. All right, let's do some more decimal division here, or decimal arithmetic. So here, I'm noticing different signs. So my final answer is going to be negative. But now I'm just going to do my division. 1.2 into 2.88. Bump my decimal over, bump my decimal over. Let's see here, that's 2, that's 24, 4, 8, 4, 4, 8, and 0, done. Perfect, and my decimal is right there, so it should be 2.4, and then checking the sign, it is negative, box it, walk away. So as you can see, it's normal decimal or fraction arithmetic, but we're just checking the signs. All right, so for example, here again, I see same sign, so that means it is positive. And again, it doesn't matter if these are both negative, it's going to be, because they're a negative divided by a negative, it's going to be positive as the final answer. So now it's just about crunching the numbers. 7.29 divided by 81, and then that ends up giving me, let's see here, I think it's just 9. Yeah, it is 9. Boom, 0. And now the thing is, it's 9 there, but I got to remember there's a decimal spot here. I put a 0 in there, so it is 0.09 for my final answer. Now finally, I know I kind of rushed to do that, but again, I'm assuming you know how to do your multiplication and division, your operations with fractions. If not, please check out another video where we will just focus on that and not worry about the negatives. Let's look at one where we have 3 of these together. So this is one that always confuses my students. They're like, whoa, everything changed. Nothing has changed though, that's the thing. Let's do it in red though, because it's extra fun. So remember the big rule, 2 at a time. Now if we look at these 2, I'm seeing 2 different signs. So different signs, meaning the final answer is going to be negative here. All right, so I'll have 7/12, negative 7/12, times 6 over 5, do a little keep change flip with my fractions. Boom, boom, 1, 2. So I get negative 7 over 10 times negative 3 over 10. Now here, let's see what I can do. With this, I see that I have the same sign, so my answer is going to be positive. Nothing cancels out, so I just multiply things together, and I get 21 over 100. And again, I established my signs are going to be positive, so that's it, 21 over 100. So again, just to stress, or to kind of regurgitate everything, work with 2 numbers at a time, and it's just about looking at their signs. After that, it's normal arithmetic, the multiplication, the division with fractions and decimals. So good luck on your practice, and let me know if you have any questions.